absolute nightmare. You could see people, you know, up to the hips in water in the houses.
Coming back towards Callis Bridge, and there was all stopped, traffic was stopped because the river was coming down the road and we knew there were a problem.
The destruction, the mess and the smell was indescribable. It was just dreadful and very, very frightening.
On Friday the 22nd of June, just before 8 p.m, the flood sirens went off after torrential rain hit the upper Calder Valley. Over 1,200 businesses and homes in and around Todmorden, Mytham Royd and Hebden Bridge were to be affected, leaving many counting the cost for months to come.
Everything was just horrible. Everything was just destroyed. When you walked out there, all the bins had been moved, everything. It had just been like it was like a force of nature had just gone thumph, and everything was just gone.
I knew it was going to flood. I didn't realise quite how bad it was going to be. So all you could do was get everything up as high as you could and hope for the best. And then we came down in the morning, and of course it was a complete mess, and everybody else was in a mess. It took us nearly 5 months to refit it. We opened in November. And obviously it took longer than we thought. It took more money than we thought, and just so much more work than you imagined.
There was thick mud, sludge, everything was floating about inside, and it was just catastrophe.
One of the organisations that helped lead the immediate emergency response was the Community Foundation for Calderdale.
When we knew that the Upper Valley was flooding and how serious it was, several of us in the foundation had the same immediate response that there needed to be set up an emergency relief fund. So very early on Saturday morning, we got out the Community Foundation's local giving page. We uploaded some photos about the flooding and some information about how serious it was, and started to tell everybody that if you can donate, if you can help the Upper Valley, we've set up the Upper Valley Relief Fund. We managed to get the grant forms out very quickly, just within the first week, and start turning those around. And of course being able to give people fridges and cookers so that they could at least live and manage in their own homes, get people back on their feet.
Many thanks to everyone who has donated. It will be a godsend at this very stressful time for us, and it is lovely to know there are lots of kind, caring people out there.
We also provided a lot of equipment so that people who needed dehumidifiers, people who needed protective clothing and gloves and shovels to be able to clear their own houses.
A big thank you to yourself and the CFFC Flood Fund. My washing machine arrived this afternoon. We're really chuffed, and a big step towards getting back to normality after the floods and weeks of mopping, cleaning and disorder.
That was overwhelmingly what we've heard, is that people needed to know somebody cared and somebody was helping and somebody was out there trying to do something, because people woke up on Saturday morning having lost an awful lot.
Will you please thank everyone on your team involved with the flood support? It has helped many people in the valley and shows that the Community Foundation cares.
Community Foundation for Calderdale, can I help you?
Community Foundation for Calderdale, Rob speaking.
Community Foundation for Calderdale.
Community Foundation for Calderdale.
It wasn't just the immediate aftermath that the Community Foundation focused on. Working in partnership with other organisations and agencies, they produced a Floods Needs Assessment report based on 44 telephone conversations with local residents affected by the flooding. The results have been sent to the council to help them plan future flood defences and emergency responses.
Pair of rubber work gloves, one large plastic sheeting.
Flood kits have been produced and distributed to help householders defend themselves against future flooding. And with initial funding from Calderdale Council, they're working on a new website that will be a one-stop shop for local information should the Calder Valley towns find themselves once again at the mercy of the rising waters. But this is a community that's looking forward, not backwards.
One of the fantastic things about this area is how everyone's rallied together to sort of build people's spirits up, and through the local authority have invested in sort of the aftermath of the floods. The Valley of Lights has been a fantastic example of that through Chris Sands, and totally locally, having worked with Handmade Parade and various people in Hebden Bridge. actually make the Valley of Lights come alive. It's an absolutely fantastic result of a lot of people's endeavours. The community, the business community have come together. The phoenix rising out of the ashes, bringing the area back into life again. It's fantastic. I just think it's been absolutely amazing how people have rallied. I know when disasters happen, people do rally, but I think I've been really surprised how just people have come together. There hasn't been any infighting, there hasn't been any tensions. People have just got on with it. Whether that be volunteers that have given up their time to go and shovel out mud out of people's cellars, whether it be the local authority working with the Community Foundation and other agencies to mobilise cleaning materials, and to help people in any way possible. And I think it's a credit to this area, the generosity of people in this area, the generosity of spirit that we've rallied and we've got on with it. And I think we can be really proud of what we've achieved together. Well, the Community Foundation really came into its own as a result of the floods. Obviously, we wouldn't wish any area to have the floods, but having decided to set up the Appeal Fund, we've demonstrated what Community Foundations are really good at doing, actually mobilising funds and getting those funds out to where they're most needed. So whether it be the Valley of Lights that we've helped to fund, whether it be grants to affected householders, whether it be buying white goods for affected householders, whatever it is, the Community Foundation has really come into its own, and we can't do what we do without the generosity of local people, local businesses, and local philanthropists who see the foundation as their way of putting something back into the community.